He used to believe money could fix anything. He was wrong. On a muddy road in rural Kentucky, billionaire Alexander Hayes watched a poor woman with blistered hands rebuild homes, carry beams, comfort children, and organize an entire destroyed town. Alone, he had hundreds of engineers. She had two hands. He had billions of dollars. She had unbreakable courage. And that day, the billionaire stood shocked, not by tragedy, but by human greatness without money. New York City looked like success. Skyscrapers reflecting sunlight, traffic weaving like veins through a living giant, digital billboards screaming power, sales, future. Inside the top floor of Hayes Global Tower, everything was glass, steel, and silence. A small plaque on the mahogany desk read, Alexander Hayes, CEO Alexander Hayes, 48, tall, perfect suit, polished shoes, eyes that always seemed to be calculating something invisible. His voice was sharp. Sell the failing wing. Restructure the robotics division. I want margins above 14% by Q3. Board members nodded. Nobody argued with Alexander Hayes. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He spoke like gravity, firm, unavoidable. His assistant, Martha, placed documents in front of him. He signed without reading them fully. He trusted numbers more than people. After the meeting, Martha hesitated. Sir, it's Emily's school ceremony today. You asked me to remind you. He paused for 1 second. His daughter, her piano recital. She had texted him the night before. Dad, please come. Just this once. He exhaled. Reschedule my presence. Send flowers. Martha looked down. You already did that last time. He didn't reply. His phone vibrated. Deals, markets, projects. He whispered under his breath. Everything is numbers. He believed it, or wanted to. But numbers could not love him. Numbers could not miss him. Numbers could not cry when he didn't show up. Emily did. Later that week, he boarded his private jet, New York to Los Angeles. Another acquisition meeting. Rain tapped against the plane windows as they taxied. He reviewed market charts, growth curves, reducing costs, expansions. The pilot's voice came through. Sir, severe storms ahead. We may need to divert. He didn't look up. Just get me to Los Angeles by morning. Lightning flashed. Hours later, the plane shook. We're diverting to Louisville, Kentucky. Airport closed onward due to the flooding. Flooding. He barely registered the word. He hated delays. He hated unpredictability. Weather didn't care about billionaires. They landed. The small terminal looked nothing like New York luxury lounges. Coffee machines humming, locals talking, television news playing. He sat, irritated, tapping his pen. Then the footage came on screen. A broken town. A washed-out bridge, homes snapped open like crushed boxes, streetlights bent sideways, people searching through debris. The headline read, Willow Creek Flood, Town Devastated. He had seen disasters before. He funded relief now and then, mostly for tax reasons. He was about to look away. Then the camera zoomed in. A woman, not young, not famous, not dressed for cameras, hair pulled back messily, mud up to her knees, hands cracked and bleeding. She was lifting wood planks, directing people, comforting children, coordinating rebuild efforts without shouting. The reporter said, This is Grace Miller, a local resident who has taken it upon herself to begin rebuilding the town, with no funding and no government help yet. She hasn't left the site for 3 days. Alexander leaned forward. The screen showed her telling an elderly couple, Your house goes first. You need the roof before cold hits. She hugged a child, wiped his tears. She smiled, despite exhaustion. The reporter asked, Grace, who is paying for all this? She shrugged. No one. We just help each other. Alexander felt something strange in his chest. Not business interest, not charity instinct. Something else. Something human. He closed his laptop slowly. His driver asked next morning, Sir, hotel or airport? Alexander stared out the window. His plans said Los Angeles. His instinct said Willow Creek. He surprised himself. Drive to Willow Creek. The driver blinked. Sir, it's 3 hours away. Roads are half destroyed. Alexander answered, Then we should leave now. The farther they drove from the city, the quieter the world became. Wide fields, broken fences, trees snapped by storm, power lines drooping like tired arms. Then they entered Willow Creek. Silence, then sound. Hammers, voices, crying, laughter, hope, right next to despair. He stepped onto muddy ground, ruining shoes that cost more than most cars. Nobody cared who he was. For once, that felt peaceful. Then he saw her again, Grace Miller. Same worn-out jeans, same blistered hands, same determined walk. She was lifting a fallen wall with 2 teenagers. Alexander walked toward her. "Excuse me." She didn't even look back. "Careful, that beam is heavy. Jimmy, move left. Lila, hold steady." He repeated louder. "Excuse me, I wanted to ask." She turned, hair stuck to her forehead with sweat. He expected recognition. None, just tired kindness. "Hi, I'm Grace. House first, questions later. If you're standing, you can help. That ladder needs holding." He blinked. Nobody talked to him like that. Not since his wife. Not since before becoming Mr. Hayes. He held the ladder. For hours, children ran past him. Dogs barked. Wood cracked. People laughed despite destruction. Nobody said, "Sir." Nobody said, "Billionaire." They only said, "Can you hold this? Mind passing that hammer? Thank you, stranger." He felt oddly human. At noon, Grace finally sat for 5 minutes on a broken step. Alexander stood near her. He spoke softly. "How long have you been doing this?" She took a sip of water. "Since the second day of the flood. First day we cried. Second day we worked." He asked, "Who is funding it?" She laughed. Not mockingly, gently. "Funding? No one. Folks bring whatever they find. Someone had nails. Someone had rope. Someone had coffee. We make do." He looked around. Temporary kitchens set up. Children playing with scrap wood, building pretend houses. Women hanging clothes on wires between trees. He asked again, "Why you?" She shrugged. "Someone has to start. Once one person stands, others don't feel so helpless." That sentence hit him like an invisible wave. Once one person stands, others don't feel helpless. He thought of boardrooms full of adults afraid to move without permission. He asked, "Where's your house?" She pointed toward the riverbed. "Nothing there. It used to be right over there." He paused. "I'm sorry." She smiled a tired smile. "Don't be sorry. Help us rebuild. No drama, no self-pity, no begging. Just simple determination." Later that evening, volunteers sat around a fire barrel warming hands. Grace finally spoke about her life. A widow. Her husband, Daniel, worked in a coal mine. Died in an accident 3 years earlier. She raised 2 children alone, both grown now, working in other towns. She stayed, worked 3 jobs, diner waitress, school janitor, caretaker for elderly neighbors. Everyone expected her to leave the town eventually, but she said, "This is my place. These are my people." Alexander listened quietly. He remembered leaving his town the second success called. He remembered never visiting again. He asked, "Aren't you angry that this happened to you again and again?" She poked the fire with a broken stick. "Storms happen, accidents happen, pain happens. Anger doesn't fix roofs." Silence. Then she looked straight at him. "But staying does." Next morning, he arrived early again. He thought enthusiasm would have faded. It hadn't. Teenagers were laughing while hauling wood. Old men were arguing about carpentry, but smiling. Women were organizing meal lines. Everything moved like a living group, directed by Grace without commanding. Mayor Thompson approached Alexander. "You new around here?" Alexander nodded. "Just helping." Thompson chuckled. "Grace changed everything. First week after flood, people just sat on porches crying. She stood up, started cleaning one road. By sundown, 50 others joined." Alexander watched her comforting a crying woman. "You didn't lose everything. You still have us." He whispered to himself, "I spent my life making deals, and she makes hope." He was shocked, not because she rebuilt buildings, but because she rebuilt people. That night, he couldn't sleep in the motel outside town. He looked at his reflection. Perfect suit, perfect tie, empty eyes. He thought of employees crying after layoffs he never witnessed, his daughter waiting alone at school, ceremonies, his wife asking him once, "When will you stay still long enough to feel something?" He whispered to the mirror, "What have I actually built? Skyscrapers? Yes. Wealth? Yes. Relationships, communities, memories not tied to profit." Silence answered him. He felt something in his throat tighten. Next morning, Alexander approached Grace with confidence. He was used to solving problems quickly. He spoke. "Grace, I can rebuild this entire village. I'm Alexander Hayes. I have—" She interrupted gently. "More money than all of us combined. I figured." He blinked. "You knew?" She smiled. "I don't live under a rock. We have phones, you know." He laughed despite himself. "Then why didn't you say anything?" Her answer stunned him. "Because you were holding a ladder. No special treatment. No begging." He continued. "I can send contractors, engineers, materials, emergency funds." She nodded. "That would help, but that's not the most important thing." He frowned. "What is?" She looked around the crowded, muddy street. "What matters most is people staying when it's not easy. Money can build walls. People build homes." He felt speechless. She continued, "Most people help for one day and leave. Real change needs those who don't rush out the second they get uncomfortable." He remembered every time he left. Birthdays, anniversaries, funerals. He asked quietly, "So, what do you need me to do?" She smiled. "Stay a while." He stayed. His phone buzzed with angry bored messages. He ignored them. He held beams, learned how to mix cement, learned the names of every child. Little Emma, Jacob with missing front teeth, Mrs. Rodriguez who baked bread on a camp stove. One evening, a little boy asked, "Mister, what do you do?" Alexander hesitated. What did he do? He finally said, "I used to buy things. Now I'm learning to build." The boy grinned. "Building is cooler." He laughed. A real laugh. No business mask. Grace watched him from a distance and smiled. Word eventually leaked. Journalist Michael Reed recognized him. He ran forward. "Mr. Hayes, a billionaire helping in Willow Creek. Can I interview?" Alexander stopped him. "No pictures of me." Michael raised a brow. "Then what do I film?" Alexander pointed. "Film them. Film Grace." For once, the billionaire did not want credit. He wanted truth to shine without him blocking it. Michael's documentary later showed children smiling, neighbors rebuilding Grace's cracked hands, lifting the world quietly. It went viral, for the right reasons. Months passed. Alexander stayed longer than originally planned, weeks turning into months. His board adapted. His company didn't collapse without him. He had trained capable people. But Willow Creek needed him. Not his money, his presence. With his funding and community effort, 63 homes rebuilt, clinic restored, school reopened, library donated with solar lights, community center named Grace House. At the dedication ceremony, Grace said, "This wasn't built by a billionaire. It was built by neighbors who decided not to abandon each other." His money helped. His staying helped more. Alexander cried openly. Emily arrived that day. She hugged her father long and tight. "You finally slowed down," she whispered. He held her like time finally meant something else. Back in New York, Alexander formed a foundation without his name, the Stay Project. Mission: rebuild forgotten American towns by empowering local leaders like Grace. But he no longer announced donations at galas. He simply showed up where people were hurting and stayed. Years later, Alexander walked Willow Creek roads again. Houses painted bright colors, flowers in windows, kids riding bikes, laughter everywhere. A little girl pointed at him and shouted, "That's the billionaire who stays." He looked at Grace, older now, still strong. "You rebuilt the village," he said. She shook her head. "No, we rebuilt each other." He finally understood. Wealth was not his bank account. Wealth was this moment. Moral of the story: money can rebuild walls. Presence rebuilds hearts. The richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who refuses to walk away when others need them. True power is not control. True power is compassion that stays. If this story touched your heart, don't scroll. Stay. Help someone near you rebuild, even in small ways. Subscribe to Momentum Stories for real inspirational stories that restore faith in humanity. Someone out there needs hope today, maybe from you.